Hello, my wonderful AP, pre-AP Algebra 2 students. If it's looking like my face is a little pinkish, it is. When I went out to say goodbye or hello or congratulations to those seniors that were coming through and dropping their stuff off, I did not put any sunscreen on, and that looks like my face got some good one. Yeah, I had to put my hat on. Uh, I hope everything's good for you guys. I apologize for not being able, or I don't say closing, but not being there for your office hours today. Um, I said it, and then I forgot all about the seniors going through and dropping their stuff off today, and I just kind of felt like it was something that I needed to do and go up there and send them off and see as many as I could. Um, just something I felt like I should do at the time. Got to see quite a few of the stat students that I have, and some of the students I've had in previous years, and so that's always a good thing. And they're having a rough time, just as you guys are too. But that was their senior year, which there is something to be said for that. Hopefully, you guys get to enjoy yours to your fullest, as they didn't quite get to. Neither here nor there. Here we are today, guys. We're about done with everything, and just between me and you, and if this gets out anywhere else, of course, it's going to be on YouTube. Um, I get it. I'm tired of this crap. I'm tired of doing these videos. I'm tired of really not seeing you guys. Tired of knowing that I'm getting something across, but just I'm just tired of doing it. Tired of sitting in front of the stupid computer. And so me knowing that, I know you guys are tired. This can't be much good for you. Um, I do hope that it's helping you intellectually. I do hope it's challenging you a little bit, if that makes sense. Um, because if we weren't doing this, and that's one thing that helps keep me going a little bit, is I'd be in front of that damn TV all day, or I'd be outside, or you know, the weather's hurting it. That at least I can, But now it's supposed to cool off a little bit, so and get a little rainy, I think, and so rather than me just sitting at home and binge watching whoever the heck I'm going to try to find my next show is, this is helping me realize that I'm trying to get you guys better. I'm a little bit rambling right now, but this is not going to be a long video. I know this might be a surprise to you, but we're ahead of the other classes. We had a meeting today with the other two algebra teachers, and they asked me if I was done with a book yet, just sarcastically, because they know that I'm always working ahead. Um, that's just the way I've rolled forever. I mean, you teach a lesson and you go to a lesson, and I'm one that I think I like the whole part whole, if that makes sense. You teach the whole thing, and then you break it up into parts, and then you go back to the whole. And so that's kind of what I do, except you can't do the whole thing, but I like to do it almost as fast as I can and then try to spend more time reviewing. That's just been my MO. I don't like to sit back. I like to roll. I like to go as fast as I can. Um, I know that some students prefer that, but also I know that some students do not prefer that. That's, I don't know if you call it advantage, disadvantage, but that's the way it is. And I like to think that sometimes that helps out in your life, because sometimes you will work for a boss that will prefer you to be meticulous, and another time a boss might want you to work for speed. And the one that works for speed, you turn it in and then they'll fix it, and then you have to go back and fix it. Whereas the other one wants you to be perfect, but it's just going to take longer. And in the end, it probably takes the same amount of time, but it's just whatever they think. Anyway, that's my thought on real life stuff, which one of the things that I like to at least think that I'm helping you prepare for, because knowing full well that there's 30 students in this class, and of the 30, I don't know, five of you may go on to do stuff mathematically. I don't know, I'm just guessing. But, I'd love for all of you to, but I just know it's not going to happen. Anyway, enough of that stuff. Let's go on to this lesson. again, I should have made the sheet so that you guys can put that information on there, but I got more responses through the Remind than I did through the sheet real quick. I had a couple of you ask about number 22, and then several of you popped in with number 45 and 47. And I actually looked at those first, which was probably a good thing rather than me try to wing it. Um, I can see how those for sure would give you a little bit of trouble. Um, so we're going to talk about those three questions. And then I want to give you basically a review, if you will, just over 7.1, 7.2, and 7.3. Again, 7.5 is, I just, I don't like it because you have to know the previous term. So because you have to know the previous term, it just, if you need to know the 18th term, well, then you got to find the 17th. Well, then you got to find the 16th, then you got to find the 15th. And that's just not as efficient as if 7.1 or 7.2 or most 7.2 or 7.3. If I want the 18th term, boom, you plug it in the formula with that. So hopefully you understand why the recursive is not that big of a deal. Now, that being said, 7.2 and 7.3, sometimes it's hard to find the formula. And so sometimes you have to do a recursive. But we'll go on with that. Let's talk about those three questions. We'll do number 22 first. Let me shrink myself back down here. That's probably about right. Y'all aren't watching me anyway. You're probably watching. It tickles me because when I go off to this way to look at me, now I'm not looking at you. Here's the book. There's 47. Here's 22. And I answered the first person just through text, but after the second person asked me, I'm thinking, I probably need to go over this. And this one, I'll take credit. I don't say take credit. I'll take blame for you not thinking this was right because I was sitting there looking at it. And so here's your sequence right up here. I thought I could. Oh, let me pause this for just a second. All right. Well, we're going to go with this. This is the best way I got right now. I saw some other things. I'm always trying to mess with this, make it better. But here we go. Here's number 22 right here. So see, there we go. We can kind of do that. That's not going to be the greatest deal. But here's the sequence. They're giving it to me 5, 2, 3. Okay. And again, what I was actually looked at this, and this was my fault. This I did not in the example. I did this. I messed up on the example, and so I could see how some of you guys may not think that there is an issue with this problem. But again, it's my fault. There's a problem with it. So it says begin with a third term. So we can't use the first term or second term. So I can't use a 5, I can't use a 2, or I can't use 1 or 2 for the first term. So we'll start with a third term. So if I want the third term, then this would be a 3, and that's going to be kind of hard to see. And then 3 minus 2 is 1, so I need to go to the first term, which is 5. Okay. And then 3 minus 1, which is 2, and I need to go to the 2, which is a 2. And if I do 5 minus 2, that does equal 3, and that's what the third term is, 3. So it looks like it's right. The issue with it is pretend like, and I'll look at here, I can go through here, erase that. Pretend like I did not give you these values. Okay, all I gave you was this. Okay, picture that, right? All I gave you was this. So if I gave you this, and I want to find the third term, then I got to go to the second term. How do I go to the second term? I didn't define it. I didn't define the first term, and I'll have to define the second term, which I didn't do that either. That's what I didn't do in that example. In that example, if you're going to do an n minus 2 and an n minus 1, you have to define what n1 and n2 are. Here, this one over here, they told me what a1 was. So that's probably okay. Now, again, there's an error somewhere. But if I just give you this formula, there is absolutely no way to find this sequence. Okay. I have to tell you what the first term is, and I have to tell you what the second term is in order to find a sub 3 if I'm going to use this formula. Okay. So that's the problem with it. And again, I can see how some of you may have an issue with that because, again, if I go up here to that example that I did, where was that at? Oh, right here. Here's that ace of 2 minus 1 and ace. I really am supposed to define ace of 1 and ace of 2, and I didn't do that in my example. So that's an uh-oh on my part. Emma, chalk that one up for me. I don't know what my list is getting up to. We're almost getting close to the end of the year, hon, so I'm going to need you to tally that up for me and let me know what that value is, just out of curiosity. And knowing that you probably didn't keep track of 1/8 of what I actually did mess up on. Ha. All right, that was number 22. And like I said, I had a couple of you guys ask about that, and I wanted to fix it anyway because one of the issues, again, you have to define ace of 1 and ace of 2, and so in order to do that, that's the only way to find that. I had a tough time when I first looked at it, though. I said, this works when I plug this value and I get this, but the problem is you have to picture that you don't see that, and I just give you this. If I just give you this, there's absolutely no way to find out the third term or fourth term or fifth term. Okay. All right. Which one was it? 40? Which one was it? 45. Yeah. Gladys owes $2,000 on a credit card company that charges an interest rate of 1.4%. I'll just let you know, if you can find a credit card that gives you 1.4%, that's amazing. Credit cards are normally around 14, 17, sometimes 19% interest. That will kill you interest wise. Interest rate of 1.4%. At the end of the month, she makes a payment of $100. Write a recursive rule for the balance at the beginning of the nth month. So when I was messing with this, that beginning of the nth month, I thought was kind of messing with me, but it actually made it easier when I actually look at it. Okay, so let me write down some numbers over here on my paper. $2,000 is what's owed, and interest rate of 1.4%, and payment of 100. Okay, and so let's go to my right here. I don't know where all my pins are. Oh, here it is. This is I don't know where I got these pins at. That I didn't realize that's not showing up. So here's what I got to do with this. Okay, so I'm in the hole $2,000 already. Plus, they're going to charge me 1.4%. Now, the little trick to this is, if you're going to charge me 1.4%, then what some students will do is they'll take this 2,000 and they'll multiply it by 0.014, right? And then they will add to that the $2,000, because this is 14 or 1.4% of 2,000. Then I got to add to that. Well, if I factor that 2,000 out of that, then this will become 0.014 plus 1. So really, to quicken this up, and this is a little trick, and some of you probably know this, but if I multiply this by 1.014, again, guys, I'm moving my decimal 2 places. Okay, I know that that's been a while since you guys done a lot of this stuff. Can't multiply by percent, you can only multiply by decimals. If I just do this right here, that's going to calculate the $2,000 times the 1.04, and then it's going to add the 2,000 to it automatically. So that's a little quick step right there. This works, but this is just a little quick step. Okay. Now, that's actually what I'm going to owe at the end of the month. And then it said I'm making a payment of $100. So I don't want to hit equals here. Let's just subtract $100. And that's what I owe. So that's what I'm going to owe at the beginning of month 2. This is what I owe at the beginning of month 2. That's why that's ace of 2. What was ace of 1? Well, that was just $2,000. I borrowed at the beginning of January. I borrowed $2,000. At the end of January, I paid the $100, but that's after the 1.014 or after the 0.014 or the 1.4%. And so that's what I'm going to owe at the beginning of the second month. Now, what am I going to do to this answer? Well, I need to multiply this answer times 1.014. And so I'm taking this one. So here's my recursive formula. A sub n minus 1. I want to take that number and multiply it by that 1.014. And then I want to subtract that $100. And then don't forget, I got to divide a sub 1. Okay? So that's the formula. I don't know what else. I think that has to be what it is. And because if I want the third month, what I'm going to owe at the start of the third month, then I got to figure out what I owed at the start of the second month, which means I got to figure out what I owed at the start of the first month. And so I think this is my answer for that problem. Okay. You didn't have to really write it like this. You could have used this over here. And all of this is a sub 1 or a sub n, a sub n minus 1, and this is a sub n minus 1. Okay. If a sub n minus 1, if I want if I want the second month, then when I do n minus 1 is just 1, which I mean a sub 1. So a sub 1 is going to be 2,000 times this minus this. That's going to be at the start of the second month. Okay? A little tough, I know. These are tough. They're supposed to challenge you a little bit. It's okay if it does. That's a good thing, right? It's challenging your brain a little bit. All right? Now, the next part of that problem, let me go to that because I think, how long will it take to pay off your account? You really needed 7.4 to do this, truthfully. And we did not discuss 7.4. The only way you know how to do this is to do it in your calculator. And so that's the way I would have to do it. And it will just take you a while to do it. So it's plug and chug. I know I used to talk about plug and chug all the time. I haven't talked about it a whole lot lately, but that would have to be what that is. So let me turn off the light so this doesn't reflect as bad. I can't see that. It's out of focus. Fix that. What is that button? Auto tune. All right, I think that's probably better. 2,000. Can't see it still. What the heck? I did turn that light off, right? You could see this earlier when I was doing this. Can't see it at all now. Sorry, guys. I don't know how to make this dimmer. Let me try to turn the light back on. That worked. Okay, you can see it now. 2,000 times the 1.014 and then minus 100. So at the start of that month, I owe that. And so now you just got to do times 1.014 minus 100. Uh-oh. And I don't think there's an easier way to do this. Well, there is, knowing 7.4 times 1.014 minus 100 times 1.014 minus 100. Right? And this will just take a little while to keep doing. Yeah, I can't think of it. I don't know a different way how to do this other than to know 7.4. So I'm not concerned with that. You can't graph it because it's using the previous value. You can't use a formula because it's using the previous value. You can kind of do that, um, but don't worry about it. Again, that would be half the way you'd have to do it to see how long it would take it. Um, there's a amateurism and whatever, some kind of financial keys that your calculator will do that will calculate these things for you. But I could see how that could be an issue, and the only way you would know how to do it is plug and chug and keep going. So I'm not concerned with that at all. So that being said, now if somebody figured this out and figured out a way to do it without a calculator, let me know. But I think the only way I know how to do it is to use the formula that we didn't discuss. Um, this is called a finite series because eventually it will get down to zero. Eventually it will get down to zero. Okay, so that's a finite series. An infinite series just goes on and on and on and on and doesn't ever stop. Okay. Um, this one, I mean, I guess this one doesn't ever stop, but eventually it will get to zero. And then it would go to negatives, I guess. How about that? So dealing with money, it's a finite. All right. I hope that explained that problem. What was the other one? Was it 47? Yeah, 47 was the other one. A person repeatedly keeps taking 20 milligrams of a prescribed drug every 4 hours. Now, that's an important word, and I'm pointing at it, and you guys can't see me pointing at it, but I'm pointing at that repeatedly word. How about this? I'm going to do this again. Watch this. New. This is how I'm figuring out I'm doing it right now. There we go. Repeatedly. Look, I can even highlight it. Ha! Look at how I'm doing this now. There's a different way I can do this, but this is what I'm doing right now. Every 4 hours. Every 4 hours. 30% of the drug is removed every 40 hours. So just kind of, I mean, this is like a real life deal, right? You take a little aspirin or something, you got a headache. Well, 4 hours later, that medicine is not near as strong as it was when you take it. Now, I understand you take it, and it's going to take a little bit to get in your bloodstream, but it starts going downhill and eventually it gets gone. And so this person here is repeatedly taking 20 milligrams of some prescribed drug every 4 hours. 30% of the drug is removed every 4 hours. Okay? Write a recursive rule for the amount of the drug in the bloodstream after n doses. So this is going to work similar to this previous problem. I'm back to this green that doesn't show up very good. All right, so 20 milligrams every 4 hours, and is it 30%? Or it reduces it by 30%. Yeah, 30%. Sorry. Just trying to make sure I got the numbers right. Unlike the other day when I was messed that up. Okay, so here's the little trick for this one. Okay, if I want to figure out, so first thing I would want to do is, and some of you would do it this way, multiply this by 30%, right? That'd be 30% of the 20, but then I got to take 20 and subtract that value. Okay, well, if you factor a 20 out of this, that will be 1 minus 0.3, which is just 20 times 0.7. And that makes it a little bit quicker. I'll kind of see how this algebra actually works a little bit. You can actually figure this out. So if you think about it in your head, if it reduces by 30%, that must mean that 70% is still in your body. And so what's 70% of that 20? Well, it's actually 14. So 14 milligrams is still in your body. Fair enough with that. So it's easier to do it by this number right here. Now, remember what it said. It said it repeatedly, I'm having a heck of a time with that word. They kept taking 20 milligrams every 20. So after this 4 hours, that's how much is left. But then I want to add another 20 milligrams to that. And so this is the second time I'm doing it, or it's 4 hours later, which is actually A sub 2, right? Now, how am I going to get A sub 3? Well, whatever I get right here, this number, the 20 times the 0.7 plus the 20, whatever I get there, I want to do 70% of it. So I want to take A sub 2 and multiply it times 0.7. So if I just do A sub 2 times 0.7 and add another 20, that would be A sub 3. And so you kind of see how the formula is working very, very similar to this one up here. We would just do A sub n minus 1 times 0.7 and add the 20 to it. Now remember, I got to define A sub 1, which was the 20 grams. Okay? And so if I want to know what's in the fourth month, that's why I don't like recursive. Oh, it's fourth month. The fourth, about the 16th hour. The fourth time I took it. Well, in order to use this formula to figure out the fourth time I took it, I got to do the third time. In order to figure out the third time, I got to do the second time. In order to do the second time, I got to do the first time, which was 20 grams. So the only way to figure out what's in the fourth month, or the fourth, not fourth month, this fourth hour, 16th hour, is I got to figure out what's in the 12th hour. So I got to work that over. And that's why I don't like recursive that much. Okay? This is the key to getting that answer. And again, it doesn't have to look like this. We could do this up here, which this would be, you could also do A sub n minus 1 minus A sub n minus 1 times 0.3. And then I'm going to take this whole thing and add 20 milligrams more. So that would work also. This would get you this same thing right here. It's just a faster way of doing it. I think there was a B part and a C part. And again, I believe you can't do that without the value of the drug and approaches. This is interesting. And this starts in a little bit with kind of calculus. It says it approaches. So this is the same type deal earlier in the year when we were talking about graphing. And as x is approaching infinity, what is y approaching? As x approaches negative infinity, what does y approach? This drug level approaches something called a maintenance level. What is the maintenance level of this drug giving 20 milligrams? So it's interesting, and I think it's worthwhile for me to go ahead and do this. Again, I'm not teaching you a new lesson, so I'm not wasting a lot of your time here. I need to go here. Sorry. So kind of plug this up here. It was 20 milligrams times 70%, and I'm going to take another 20 and add to it. So after the fourth hour, there's actually 34 milligrams in my body. Okay, and you would think that if it's only listen to this, think about it. This is what's cool about math. God dang, it's going down 30%, but I'm taking 20 milligrams more. So eventually you think that, man, if that's going down 30%, I'm going to take another 20 grams. I mean, I'm just eventually going to overdose, if you will. Okay. But in this particular problem here, in this type of drug, okay, now this type prescription drug, it's going to approach what they call a maintenance level. So let's do this again. I want to take that number and multiply it times 0.7 and add that 20 again. Now I'm at 43.8. So let's keep doing this. Times 0.7 plus 20. Ooh, didn't go. Plus 20. 50.66. Times 0.7 plus 20. 55. Notice it's not going up as much, right? The first time it went from 20 to 34. It went from 34 to 43, and then 43 to 50, 50 to 55. It's not going up as much. times 0.7 plus 20. 58 times 0.7 plus 20. 61 times 0.7 plus 20. 62. Look, we only went up 1 milligram. Almost 2. Times 0.7 plus 20. 63. Times 0.7 plus 20. 64. Can I see what's happening? Isn't that cool? It's not going up as much. And it's approaching what they call this maintenance level. And if we had discussed 7.4, what we would do is figure out what the geometric value was of it going up each time. You can figure that out. We can actually figure that out of what it's going up each time. And then we could figure out the sum of that. This is called an infinite series, but it's approaching some value. And so that's what calculus is. That just got brighter or something. I don't know, whatever. In calculus, all the time, you talk about the lines, and as they approach it from the right side or as they approach it from the left side, if they're approaching the same value, then it's really important. That value gives us something very important. In fact, at some point, it might give me a minimum and it might give me a maximum. And that's why we talk about those turns on graphs. And again, those are very important to us in calculus because those turns tell us, at what value that gives me a max or what value that gives me a min. And if we're happen to be talking about some kind of a profit function that's a big old polynomial, then I want to know where those max values are. And when I know where those max values are, then that's my maximum profit, and that's where I want to be, right? And when I'm at the minimum value, I don't want to be there. And so I need to know those values. Again, that's how all this kind of ties in together about these polynomials and finding those max and mins and using calculus to do all that. The calculus isn't the hard part, it's all the algebra to get to the end of it. The calculus is real easy. To do that first step is a calculus. It's all the stuff after that that's algebra or pre-calculus or whatever it might be. All that other crap, the algebra part of it, that's actually what makes it pretty difficult. The calculus in itself is not that difficult. Anyway, this value does approach, I think it ends up approaching 66. But if you kept doing that, you'll see that it doesn't get any bigger than that. It just starts increasing very, very small. So it's kind of interesting how that happens. Again, I would not ask you guys to know how to figure that out. How does doubling the dose affect the maintenance level of the drug? Well, if you double the dose, then you're doing 40 milligrams as opposed to 20 milligrams. And what it does is it almost doubles. I don't think it doubles the maintenance level. Yeah, I think it doubles the maintenance level. I think it will double the maintenance level. It's been a long time since I've done that stuff about sums of geometric series. A long time. And ironically, those of you that continue on in your mathematical careers won't see series and sequences probably until Cal 2. I think I'm thinking back, that's when I saw sequences and series. And it's more series and sequences. We really didn't care about the sequences. We don't care about the series. We care about the sequence part of it, the sum of it. I've just talked tonight that some of you guys, I may have wasted your time. I apologize for that, but you know me, I kind of get into this stuff, and I guess that's the price you guys have to pay for having a math teacher that has a mathematics degree, as opposed to a math teacher that has a teaching degree. I actually don't have a teaching degree. I have a mathematics degree. Another interesting fact about me. Now, I do have a master's in education that I got. I just completed it last year. It made me so much of a better teacher. It didn't teach me crap about teaching, but I got that piece of paper that says so. Guys, what I want y'all to do tonight or So it's Thursday. This won't be due until Tuesday. Um, Tuesday, this will be due Tuesday. I'm going to give you kind of a review over 7.1, 7.2, and 7.3. It will not have 7.5 in it. Tuesday, I'll give you something else. Our plan is, this is our plan. This is all 3 algebra teachers. Wednesday, 1 o'clock. Every Algebra 2 student. I think this, we got this from other teachers, so you've probably already done this already. Wednesday, 1 o'clock. Mark it on your calendar. Not tomorrow. Oh, well, today was Wednesday. Sorry. Wednesday. Actually, it's 12:05, so today's Thursday. Wednesday, 1 o'clock. We are going to start the exam. I'm going to give you 1 hour and a half. And at 1.5 hours, I'm going to turn the exam off. Now, I'll probably go a little bit later than that. I can see the submission time. I don't want time to be an issue. You guys are so darn honest on that stuff. I really, really, really like you guys a lot. You guys are great kids. Wednesday, 1 o'clock, hour and a half to take the exam. I do not think it's going to take you anywhere close to 1 hour and a half. We're still in the process of making it, so I will tell you exactly what to prepare for. You will be allowed to use your notes. You will be allowed to use, I'll even allow you to use the Google Docs that have the homeworks on them, the questions, as well as the examples. I will allow you to use that stuff. I do not want you to use your buddies. Will I know that if you do or not? Probably not. But I'm hopefully letting you be honest here. All right. Those of you that have, a 20 average, if all of a sudden you get 100 on it, I'm probably going to think something's up. Anyway, but in all honesty, the formulas are the biggest deal. And I want you to be able to use the formulas. So if you want to write down the formulas on a piece of paper, and that way you can go off of those and look. If we were giving this class, if I was giving you this test in class, I would write the formulas on the board, just so you would know. So I think last year, I don't think I did, but I did tell them that if you got to a problem on a test and you couldn't remember it, then I would give it to you. And I may even put them on the board. I told you, I can't remember the darn formulas, and I taught it last year. So I do not expect you to memorize these formulas at all. Wednesday, 1 o'clock, test, hour and a half. Everybody's going to take it from 1 to 2:30. Every algebra student. Okay? That's our plan right now. That's unless something changes. So I expect you guys to be able to do that. If something comes up, like your internet shuts down or anything, I'll work with you and we'll figure things out. But as of right now, we have a faculty meeting Monday. And my guess is in the faculty meeting, they're going to tell us how the rest of the year is going to go. They'll explain to us about finals. They'll explain to us of what we need to do when we quit taking grades and all that stuff. Again, I don't know anything. And if you've heard anything, it's a rumor because ain't nobody know anything. Trust me, I've asked and I don't even know. Okay, so let's plan. Your homework, I didn't. I'm going to get it from the book here. I think it came from right after 7.3. Well, I got to hide that so I can do this. There we go. At the end of 7.3. Okay, at the end of 7.3, there's a quiz. Go back out of here, coach. All right, there's a quiz. All right. Write the next term of the sequence, then write a rule for the nth term. It may be geometric. It may be arithmetic. It may not be either. You may just have to write a rule for it. Okay? Just think about that because 7.1, that's what you did. Some of 7.1s were arithmetic and some of them were geometric, but we didn't talk about them yet. Okay? So these 1 through 6 came from 7.1, 7.2, and 7.3. 7.2 was arithmetic. 7.3 was geometric. 7.1 could have been anything, and it may not, there's a possibility it's not either one. Okay, so here's 7.1, 6 questions. Find the sum of the series. If it's geometric, you can use the sum formula. If it's arithmetic, you can use the sum formula. And if it's neither, you'll just have to add them up. Okay, I do not expect you to plug this right into your calculator and get the answer. I should not see an exact answer. I said you should use using the formula or figuring out what the first term, second term, third term, fourth term is. But now you're going to have an hour and a half for the quiz. And so therefore, if you do that every time, it's going to hurt you. Okay. Write a rule for the nth term of the arithmetic or geometric sequence. So similar to 1 through 6, 10 through 15, and then you have a word problem number 16. That may seem like a lot of questions, but it's Thursday and it's not due till Tuesday. So you've got plenty of time to do these. Don't wait till late Monday night, please. Let's get these turned in. When you get done, turn them in. If you get to one of these and it becomes difficult, send me a remind text or send me an email. And I plan on opening up office hours tomorrow as well as Friday. And you guys can ask them. I've wasted enough time tonight. I've talked and hadn't taught you really much of anything. So here we go with that right there. So this is at the bottom of page 457. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a picture of this, and I'll just post that picture instead of this section. And if you need the previous sections, you're welcome to go back to it. So 1 through 16, do those problems. And that's your assignment due Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock. Okay. I love you guys. I miss you guys. And I hope to see you on office hours. I don't have anything silly. Anybody figure out my end of my jokes the other day? I can't remember which ones I asked you. I didn't have anybody to talk about. Did I do the can opener one? I don't remember what I did to you guys. Stop. I'm wasting your time. Sorry. Stop. Love y'all.